I'm landing the plane. Gotta just, let's see here. Yes. Okay, we're landing the plane with Tara. Can everyone hear me okay? Thumbs up. You can hear me? Okay, good. I'm working on those transitions. I'm telling you, those life transitions. Namaste, everyone. So good to see everyone today. Oh my gosh. I am feeling so much in my heart tonight. It's so good to see you here too, Steve. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you, Suhad. Oh, Katie's here. Christy, Peggy, Barbara, Wendy. I'm just calling all those who are here. Zoe, thank you all for being here. I'm very much in the Zen mode for a moment now. I spent like an hour just doing the Om Tare Tu Tare Tore Swaha, just being with Mother Tara. It's such an interesting thing too, for me when I think about these different goddesses. And one of the commitments of my path, the path I feel like that is not unique to me. And I consider paths to be like rooms, right? I always find it interesting when people, let me try to look at the camera. I'm just loving looking at everyone here. I find so fascinating when it comes to um, what it means to be connected to one's own divinity. And even I've been a part of guru lineages, just giving some gratitude, even though it's some deep learning that was rather difficult at times, to be in lineage where certain lineages honor certain aspects of the divine. And so much of my calling, even as a small child, I can remember being so connected to the divine feminine. Even as spring, I love my conversations with spring because even as a non-binary. I didn't even have language for what I felt inwardly moving through me, but I always felt this divine feminine flow of energy moving through me. So even when I walk, it was like a mind fuck for people. They were like, I'm doing a little cursing. There's a little Kali energy trying to keep her at bay tonight. The fierceness of Kali Ma, my Ishtadeva. But I always felt like this divine feminine love and compassion, even as a small child moving through the world. And I do find that the mother has such a unique way, and I call, divinity itself to me as a mother. And I'm not even talking about traditional sense of female form, even though the beauty of female form comes in as the mother, right? The birth of all, really giving birth to all of creation. But I do find that the divine feminine has such a beautiful teacher and fierce protector of, I would say, all of us, because that's what I really feel like holds the universes together, right? Is the divine feminine, which is creation and form. And when I think about Tara and compassion, one of my first teachers as I flowed through life and not really being seen, it's my grandmother. My grandmother, 4'11", black woman from the South, with a maid, is working, going to Palm Beach. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with Palm Beach. Very wealthy area, mansions. She would go and she'd stay overnight. I was like, Grandma, why are you staying overnight? You should be home with us, in inner city, Riviera Beach, very segregated, very poor black. And she would go and just take care of these very wealthy, affluent white folks. And what I found so powerful about, even as tired as she was, working 60-hour weeks, and I was still struggling just being in my body. And I think so much, especially for children that come in their flow between gender and different expressions, this world can be very charnely. It's charnely for all of us, right? I love that coin that Spring and I talk about in terms of what it means is this constant purification. Really, how do you navigate systems and still keep oneself connected, right? And that's some of the work that we do today. And that's what I love so much about Tara and my grandmother being the first teacher of that, is because I remember no matter how tired she was, she always made time to hold me. So I remember really needing some kind of assurance, even with the difficulties of not being seen and understood growing up, that I'm loved with a deep compassion, even in the midst of, I think so much depending on how you grew up, even growing up as a kid, and you start to have your dreams crushed at times with the realities of life. There's so much suffering that starts to happen rather quickly. We come in with such freedom, and then something starts to happen. My grandmother was a consistent teacher of what it means to be in this world, and it's hard. It was hard on her body, a lot of physical labor, what it means to clean and constantly not having time off, and still be able to hold her grandchildren, still hold with compassion, still make time. Even at times I would chase her around the house and I would say, Grandmother, it's time for cuddles, it's time for cuddles. She's like, go. She'd call me my boy named Casey. She's like, go, I need a moment. Like, Grandmother, I need love. She's like, okay. She'll just go ahead and surrender this love. And I could feel this pouring out of love as she'll just hold me until whatever my nervous system needed will calm down. So I love you, grandmother. She's part of the ancestor world. She's the I jokingly say the for now, not saying it's true, but the one I feel I trust the most on my ancestor altar is my grandmother. She's a fierce protector of mine, emanation of Tara, no question at all. It just brings me just to this practice as we go into what it means and so much of what I've been connected to and trained and done a lot of spiritual work is really more connected to the Hinduism aspect of Tara, even though there's universal teachings that go into Buddhism and other worlds of connection. Because Tara, one thing I could say for goddesses, never try to limit them. If you try to limit them or try to figure them out, they'll flip things upside down. And I could say some of the most beautiful parts I know oftentimes I hear about Tara is her compassion. And I really do feel like what's so powerful about it is she is definitely it also another face of Kali because inside of that compassion, she's still looking for us to be free. That's one of the most amazing things. So there is fierce truth. Are we looking to be with truth? But what I love about the fierce is what makes it, I find more, and we'll talk about it more after I'll share more after our meditation, which is going to take us through. Oh, this is going to be a very tantra. I'm not sure how many of you are tantra practitioners where you work with light and shadow as a part of your work. Well, my tradition of practices that I'm so connected to is Tantra, meaning that everything use everything for liberation. So you some of our deepest pain and suffering, and that's why we're gonna hold it with metta. We're gonna hold it with loving kindness, is to get into the grit. And that's one of the things I loved about my last lineage and always will be grateful for is they weren't afraid to go into the dark stuff. And oftentimes it could be very light, airy, to me, airy fairy. And to be in a Kali lineage that's very tantric, it's like, oh no, let's go into the cravings. Let's go into the not enough. Let's go all the way in because the mother is so not afraid of that. The Tara is not one of the most powerful things I love. You know, when I need a little bit of a gentle hold, because Kali is, bam, let's go transformation. She's so much like Stephen get a kick out of his mother, Aya. And Zoe, like, she's like, no. And I love Spring's example because it is so true. Because I did a private with Spring, Andres, and Ali Maya, and I got my own taste of it. I was like, ooh, this fierce energy of Kali came in the form of Aya, and it's very fierce and it's powerful. You just gotta, I just hold on to my seat and I just surrender to like Lord Shiva. It's like, okay, let's get to work. I'm in it now. But what I love so much about Tara is such a skill and I love the imagery, and we're going to go through it with the chakras because so much of this external experience around what it means to be with the imagery where we look at the physical deities, the forms, the statues, as we call them. I call them deities because once you really start to take care of them, they become a living being that you're responsible for. So I'm always careful around how many deities. I have many. As you can see here, the Hindu practitioner, Ganesha, Shiva, they're in my home now. They're like, okay, let's get to work. You brought me here. So even if I break them, I went through a period of breaking them as I moved, and Spring went through the woes because she's so good about being in the moment with it. It's like, oh my God, I broke off Kali's hook. What am I gonna do? Everything is falling apart. And now, and because they're just living beings. But what I will say is it is a representation of an inner reality, right? So when I need a little bit of softness, which we'll get into, even though it's not always soft, but someone to really guide through the ocean of suffering. That's a beautiful imagery of Tara. It's really, what does it mean to guide you through not enoughness? The posturing, right? These are things that, so much of what I've learned and give it to Neem Karoli Baba. That's why I have him here with Yogananda. Neem Karoli Baba, still one of my forms of a teacher that I connect with is this willingness to kind of be in this kind of navigation of these different parts of ourselves, the willingness to look at it, because Tara is going to guide you into it. So this is where the meditation is going to be beautiful for us if we just allow ourselves to be in that connection with it. And I'm going to put the meta phrases, the really, if you whatever resonates with you in your connection with the practices, we're definitely going to hold it. And no, wrong one. I'm trying to copy and paste. Doing so, we're going to do it one more time. For those who are familiar with the meta practices, I do really love them as a way as we go through the chakras because we start to be in this place of Tara's leading us. We've already invoked her with the mantra, and really start to, when things come up, because really she's guiding you. Okay, when we go to the root chakra, we're going to go to the, where is it where we have this survival mode that we're starting to freeze? And Tara's like, okay, let's go ahead and compassion. Let's do this work. What are we not, what can we look at today? And so much of the work with the practices is look at, and the mother is patient. There's times I've had, and I've shared this in previous conversations, where I'm like, it's time to pause on that divine mother. I'm just not ready to be that deep in the work right now. Let's take a little vacation. I got to get some coffee, go for a walk, and let's schedule that for next week. So I've done that before at times. I've learned that for myself, because there's deeper work from that I really want to be able to do, that I've been less into that mode. But I have my cry modes too. I've had many of those since I moved to California, of course. It's been a powerful transition point for me. But yeah, let's just go into it. Let's get into the meditation, and we're just gonna move through the Tara Dharma as we move and feel it in our body. So wherever you are, just allow yourself this moment to just start to move around your seats. And just for a moment, you can keep your eyes open or closed, but I like to start to do some stretches and really start to feel into my body. Just be in this place of noticing, breathing in and out. This is just a time to really kind of, even sometimes I like to do like a little sway just to feel in. And only when you feel comfortable enough, if you want to make it less of an outer experience and make it more inner, closing your eyes, and you can begin to settle into your seat and just start to watch this flow of breath. And only in your own timing, move as much as you need to. And only when you're ready, can settle into your seats. And if you feel called to, close your eyes and really start to bring your practice to inwardly. And as you are in this place of awareness around the breath, you're not looking to do anything special with your breath. You're just allowing right now, observing the inward inhalation of the breath and the exhalation. As you're breathing in and out, just take this moment just to notice, really using the awareness of the breath just to see, just to be with what comes, whether it's the body, the emotion, thoughts, whatever arises with just this noticing practice, just to be in this place of openness. As you're just being in this place of openness, as things come, if anything just arises that takes you out of the moment, just really use that breath awareness to bring you back to this connection of the inward inhale and exhale, softening into your body. Getting to deepen your breath. Start to lengthen the inhale. And whenever you get to the top of the inhale breath, you're going to hold it there for a moment, being full of air. And then slowly exhale through your mouth as if you're fogging a mirror, just to really see if you could soften your body even more. And let's just do some rounds of this where you just take this deep inhale. See if you can take a fuller inhale of your lungs and your belly, holding it at the top, being this place of noticing what it means to be in between the breath. And only when you feel ready, your body is ready to release, exhale through your mouth, hearing the audible exhale. And even at the bottom of the exhale, see if you can push the air using your lower diaphragm to be a little bit more empty. In the empty part of your exhale, allow yourself to be in the empty stage for a moment, just to see what it feels like. And just repeating that practice on your own. Just keep that concentration going as you deepen this practice. And then, if you can, weave back into noticing again as you take a fuller inhale, holding it, fuller exhale, releasing. Especially when you're full of air, holding it, noticing what arises in the mind, the body, the feelings. And exhale when you're empty, notice how it feels in the emptiness. You just do that three more times. Take the three fullest inhale breaths, holding it at the top. Three of your fullest exhale breaths being empty at the bottom. And then once you finish that third exhale of being empty, return to normal breathing. And as you return to normal breathing, begin to feel your body for a moment as you do a body scan, just to see if there's any sort of tension left in the body. Softening with the exhale as you scan from the bottom of your feet with awareness slowly up the body. And any part that feels like it's a bit of a resistance, deepen your breath in that area, really using that exhale to soften and let go whatever is holding. And then whenever you get to the top of your head and you feel like you're totally in this relaxed state, just use the breath to just breathe the body, where you're really feeling this connection of awareness of the prana, the energy of the breath, touching the body from the feet to the top of the head, really holding you in this place of calmness with each inhale and each exhale, really feeling this deep connection of softening into your seat. All right, just allowing yourself just to return to regular breathing now, just being this place of observing. And I'm going to invite you as we explore the energy field of chakras, the energy points of on our spine, to really have an intention around allowing this aspect of yourself of compassion to really start to bring to the light for some deep care, those parts of ourselves that you really want to start to flow in with compassion that may not be getting enough compassion as we explore these different aspects of ourselves. So if it connects with you, you can bring a hand to your heart if you want, or bring your hands together on your lap where you're like almost like clasping your hands together to give yourself more support. I'm gonna invite you to just inwardly, as you're breathing in and out, 3 times, just chant Om Tara 3 times inwardly. Just feel this connection to your heart. Whenever you finish that third Tara, really start to feel into what does it mean to really be in this space of compassion. It's already there. It's nothing to do. Really start to show yourself tenderness as you start to breathe into the base of your spine. And to really breathe into the base of your spine at the root chakra. This is really going into the most primal aspect of ourselves. Start to breathe into the base of your spine. The sense of self. I have a body. Basic level needs to exist. Start to breathe into that space with compassion. As you're breathing into that space with compassion, I'm going to invite you to bring in your metta practice into the space and really start to invite an opening to really start to see not just only the parts of what it means to be connected to you as an individual, but all the parts that maybe you don't want to see about what it means to be at the root level, primal level of your body. May it be happy and peaceful. Start to breathe and see if you can all the pockets into the base of your spine. May I be safe and protected. Taking deeper breaths, really holding this with compassion. May I be healthy and strong in this body. Really start to feel that into the base of your spine at the root chakra. What does it feel like? Even the areas that may not feel that way. Start to breathe and feel this connection of compassion, pouring it in with each inhale and each exhale as you really ride the wave of metta. May I live with ease and well being. As you continue to say the metta phrases, see if you can invite spaciousness. Where does it feel tight when it comes to your physical identity, your body, your existence? Where does it feel where it can be a little bit more spacious, even not necessarily solving, but breathing into, give it metta, care, and compassion, not to solve, just to be with. Letting the meta phrases go for a moment. If you can, just be, see if you can be a little bit in the silent inquiry of the root chakra, just for a moment. See if your mind is settled enough where you can just see if you can sit to the silence of at the base of your spine. See if there's a wisdom there. Anything arises in wisdom, can you give it meta? Just just in feeling versus words to emanate meta from your heart. Whenever that next inhale breath comes into the root chakra, just breathe it in deeply and hold it there at the root chakra for a moment. And as you hold it there at the root chakra, inwardly just say and vibrate within your root chakra, Tara, Tara, Tara. And whenever you're ready, slowly exhale a couple of inches up the spine and just out of under the belly button at the second chakra. Feel it. Breathe into the second chakra, which is just there below the belly button on the spine. As you're breathing in and out of the second chakra. This is where you really start to touch into what does it look like to really enjoy your pleasure, your own expression of joy, your physical body. You just be with that in tenderness and care at the second chakra. As you're breathing in and out, just be in this place of noticing, to knowing that you're safe. What are the areas where you're not really taking up and exploring and taking up space when it comes to your own sense of pleasure? There's wisdom in that too. Sexual expression, how you respond just in general to delight in the world when it comes to your physical body. Can you allow yourself to be in the breath and connection of pleasure as its own liberation when you do it with awareness? As you start to expand into this awareness of the space of the second chakra, you start to open up and see parts that you may not always be clear on. Give it metta. May I be happy and peaceful. Really be in this place of noticing and inquiry. May I be safe and protected. Breathing that in. May I be healthy and strong in this body. May I live with ease and well-being. Breathing deeply into the second chakra, sense of pleasure, delight, connection to self and others at times. You start to invite this opening of the compassion to really explore where is it where you're just not quite the shadow that you want to explore in a very compassionate way. Allow the breath in the metta to hold up a mirror with compassion. Okay, letting the metta practice go for a moment. Can you be into the silence now, the wisdom of the second chakra for a moment? See if there's some wisdom in the silence. You settle into that part of your body. If anything comes that you want to give metta to, feeling metta versus saying it, just emanate metta from your heart to what needs some care from the silent wisdom of your second chakra. If you feel that next inhale breath come in, breathe it into your second chakra. Once you're full of air, hold it there and inwardly chant ta ra ta ra. I really start to feel the name of Tara vibrating in your second chakra. And then slowly exhale up the spine a couple of inches and breathe out, breathing in and out of the third chakra, which is on the spine, just above the belly button, a few inches above the belly button on the spine. You have to breathe into your third chakra, which is connected to your sense of individual power. How do you hold your power in the world? So start to breathe into this space and exploration with love and kindness. You start to feel into how do you hold power? How do you hold space for yourself? How do you hold space when other people are holding space and holding their own power? Breathe into that space with love and kindness. You can. You really continue to feel into the intention of seeing what you is not quite clear or just feeling a little bit shadow or constricted. Give yourself metta in the third chakra. Yeah, be happy, peaceful. And when you have to your third chakra, may I be safe and protected. Yeah, be healthy and strong. Inspired. Feel this connection into your third. May I live with ease and well-being. Continue with meta phrases. Use your breath as a way to really explore your sense of power. Not only the light parts that you feel most connected to, how you hold space, but the parts that feel contracted and crunchy that may not always be clear. Can you give it compassion, love, and kindness, especially for the contracted parts, the crunchy parts? For a moment, can you let the meta practices go and just be in the silence and the wisdom of the third chakra? You start to allow the silence to be its own Dharma wisdom teaching for you. Really getting metta, feeling metta, those parts of the wisdom teachings that you feel needs to feel that compassion as it comes to you. And whenever you feel that next inhale breath come in, inhaling into the third chakra just above your belly button, holding it there for a moment, being in awareness, inwardly chanting ta, ra, ta, ra, ta, ra, vibrating into the third chakra, mother tongue. And only when you're ready, slowly exhaling up the spine and out the center of the chest at the heart. Begin to breathe into your beautiful heart now, your sense of love, connection to self and other, your own unique channel of love that's universal, breathing in and out of your heart. Really feel into your love. This is the time to really feel and connect into your own heart, the tenderness, in this place of noticing of the heart, with the intention of not only being with what feels so good about love that you're connected to with your heart, but also the parts that may feel a bit empty. As you start to cross into that path, it's just allowing, not necessarily efforting to find. You come into that path, just know that compassion, Tara's with you. And whenever you're ready to start to give metta, really start to bring in the compassion of metta into your heart. Yeah, be happy and peaceful. May it be safe and protected. May it be healthy and strong in its body. May I live with ease and peace. Continue to repeat the meta phrases. Really is giving, creating spaciousness of the heart, really tending to those parts of our love and expression of love that really needs some tending to and compassion, not judgment, but compassion, tenderness. Whenever you're ready, go into the silence of the heart for a moment, letting the meta practice go and just be with the heart, the wisdom of the silence of the heart. Can you allow yourself to really be with that for a moment? Wherever it's needed, can just really feel into giving metta, even in the silence of the heart. Whenever you're ready, you can just take your next inhale breath, breathing into the heart, holding it there for a moment, feeling this connection going deeper into the infinite space of your own heart, and just inwardly chanting ta, ra, ta, ra, vibrating it throughout your heart. And whenever you're ready, you can slowly exhale up the spine and out the throat. As you're breathing in and out of the throat, really starts to go into the power of your words, your voice. You start to be with this connection of truth. What is truth? What is false? What is unreal that may come out? Where is truth when it's really held in love? You really get to explore this, the voice, because words have such power. So really start to use your awareness to expand the breath into the throat chakra. Be in this place of noticing the parts that are very light, and also the parts that are very dodgy, that's not clear, a little bit shadowy. And whenever you're ready to tend to those parts that feel like there's an opening, a connection, and tenderness, allow metta to flow into your throat chakra. May I be happy and peaceful. May I be safe and protected. May I be healthy and strong in this body. May I live with ease and well being. Breathe in this connection, especially in those places where it feels like it's so on its own, desolate. It hasn't had any tending to. And whenever you're ready, going into the silence of the throat chakra, the silent teaching, the wisdom teachings of silence, really feeling into that with each breath. Things feel contracted within the throat chakra as you feel into the silent teaching. Start to really feel into giving it metta. Feel the metta pouring through with the work you've been doing, what we're doing as a community online. Whenever you're ready, take a deep inhale into the throat chakra, holding it at the top. And then whenever you're ready, just start to chant top breath, top breath, top breath. Inwardly, really feel it vibrate at the throat chakra. And then exhaling up the spine and out the point between the eyebrows at the point of intuition, seat of intuition. Begin to breathe into the seat of intuition at the point between the eyebrows, seat of discernment. As you're breathing in and out, just be in this place again of noticing where it feels very expanded and connected, or there's parts where you just haven't quite seen or honored or connected to your own intuition. And whenever you're ready, you can begin to give it metta, wherever that shadow is of intuition. May I be happy and peaceful. And connecting into intuition. May I be safe and protected. May I be healthy and strong in this body. May I live with ease and well-being. Continue to be with the meta phrases as you keep that focus at the point between the eyebrows in this place of curiosity. Letting the meta phrases go, can you just be with the silence, the wisdom of the silence of your own intuition? As you start to explore the wisdom of your own intuition, those parts that feel crunchy, feel through and give it metta. Whenever the next inhale breath comes in, inhaling the breath into the seat of intuition, point between your eyebrows and holding it there for a moment. Just inwardly chant ta ra, ta ra, ta ra. And then slowly exhale down the spine and end at your heart center, at your heart. Begin to breathe into your heart, coming back home to your body. As you're coming back home to your body, just start to feel into your body for a moment, just arriving fully, all parts of you. As you start connecting to your body, just notice what are you, just give yourself acknowledgement of something that you're grateful for this moment, whatever comes to your heart. What are you grateful for? Whatever comes, just inwardly acknowledge, thank you, thank you, thank you. And whenever you're ready, you can slowly bring your palms together at your heart in prayer to close our practice. And whenever you can bow and chin the chest. And whenever you're ready, you can come to a comfortable seat. Mm. The Tower of Love, the Tower of Love. Ah, thank you guys. Woo. That is a very, that's a practice I really do love to do is really go through this exploration of the chakras, especially if you're doing it on your own. You can spend time with just one and just sit with it because it can really, there's a deepening that happens. There's a part of it which at some point, it's an interesting one where you go into the seventh chakra, which is your crown, right? And I just wasn't, that's a deep one even for me to do on my own. It's a total dissolution because going to the crown, like you're dissolving all things, right? All things, you're really going into this space of, the universal teachings of I am. And that would have taken us probably another 30 minutes. So I was like, let's not get into that tonight. Let's just be with all the human crunchy parts of it. The dissolution to come another time. Maybe when I do a Shiva, um, more of a Shiva share, which is beautiful, that dissolution. And hopefully that was beautiful for you, some insights of the shadow side of Tantra. That's one of I think whew, when it comes to being with this aspect of yoga, I love being the lighter side of things and not really kind of looking at the parts that feel contracted and crunchy. And I think some of it was in the past, not really understanding how to be with, we have access. When I say Tara, really I'm saying this aspect of yourself that you're calling forth that has compassion. So I really do feel like our ability to be compassionate with others and to love other people's shadow, which is a deep teaching. Not love them in the midst of shadow, what I'm trying to say. How do you have compassion for others in their shadow if we can't even have compassion for ourselves in our shadow? because we are in this space where these things are starting to happen, and sometimes we confuse the shadow for them. And there's times where we have to have fierceness around that too when it comes to behaviors and people showing up, which I honor as well. But there is something about being able to be with ourselves and in the shadowy parts of ourselves that feel very limited. That's important. That Tara teaches such a powerful teaching around. And one of the some of the things I really want to share is centered around when you can start to tap into these different parts of ourselves. And I think some of the trickier parts for me when it comes to, and I see it actually as a pattern for a lot of people. The different traditions talk about it is what does it mean to have true delight in the world, truly holding sexual pleasure, enjoyment? How do we hold money and power? Those are tricky things. We think we can go to the third chakra, the second chakra, like, got it. Like, I've seen it, and I've even growing up in the Christian traditions I've been a part of, the Hindu traditions, the Buddhist. I've seen some wild stuff and different friends. I'm sure you have too. So these are could be dicey areas. It's not. I don't think it's as simple as okay, I did it one time, I got it. It's a constant play with awareness. But I do feel like Tara, this aspect of compassion, the more you start to explore and really be able to dance with the light and the shadow, the wisdom of it gives you more to play with, to really start to alchemize, and it becomes this healing that starts to happen of compassion that starts with yourself and it starts to expand to all those things, all those people around you. And I could say my one of my greatest teachers is my mother. Well, I have to say that's so hard. This is on the recording too, so this going to my YouTube channel. I love my mom, and it's been such a deep teaching around compassion, and me doing my own work has given her access to how we communicate with each other when it comes to who we are individually and how we show up together with compassion. But it started with me doing my own work because I was so shut down in how I had conversations around who I am in the world, who I am, let's go into it, queer, non-binary, very interfaith, very connect to all things divinity, growing up in a household of Jesus is the only way, very fixed realities. And I've always, and I was talking to my mom the other day, and I told her I knew it was very violent growing up the way that, we were doing they were doing the best they can, but it occurred to me as very violent, trying to push me into gender. And, and I saw it all as drag. I had my little, if you see some pictures of me as a small child, I had my little deacon, I was a junior deacon, had my little suit on, these boy clothes and quoting scriptures. And I always inwardly, I told my mom what kept me where I never really thought about harming myself is I always knew that I was loved. I always knew there was compassion. My grandmother demonstrated that to me, but I always felt the compassion of my own heart in the midst of that. And I just knew, even though I didn't have language for it, I just knew it's like, it's okay. This is temporary. The impermanence teaching I got very early, like, I'm gonna get this drag off of me when I turn 18. I just cannot. So I was just counting down the days, like, inner freedom. Let me put on these boy clothes and let's get this going. But there'll be a time where the queen will rise. So I always had that in me. So I always played that part so that when I told my mom the other day, what really kept me, because she has regrets around us, like, do your own compassion work. I've already done the work of forgiveness. You're still holding this on, holding this for yourself. But just know that your person that is me always knew they were loved. And even though there is words and scriptures that family tried to make me disappear. I was just like, oh no, the mother loves me. Something about it, I even had the language for it, but I was like, I am loved. I'm held by something divine feminine at some point. At the parking lot, because I had to wear this whole thing that I didn't want to wear, but at some point I will come back to me. So that's something that I think is such a beautiful thing that we all have. And that's why we're on this call today. That's so important is once we start to feel this compassion in certain parts of our lives that is easier to access there, it starts to create this blossoming effect that touches other parts of our lives that may be very hard to touch. So one of my favorite wisdom teachings from a teacher that I connect with is connect when it's easier. Connect with the compassion when it's easier. Because when it gets cremation grounds hard, when you've already been in, like, let me cultivate this compassion in this area, you're practiced enough to start to move it into the parts that are just, oh, that could be so crunchy. So one of I think it's so interesting with the Tara teachings that is not always so popular. Maybe you've heard of his teachings. She does have some wild collie parts of her too, because she's also an ego killer. Compassion is a deep ego killer, meaning what we hold and we can't let it go. But imagine really being able to hold those parts. Like I was talking to a friend today, she was in this cycle, well, they are wrong and I am hurt, blah, 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 blah. Like I get all that. And it's true that this situation is wrong. And can you hold them and you in compassion? And she just couldn't get there. She's like, she just wanted to be mad, and which I get. And I was just like, okay. And I'm just trying to can we get to a little place of freedom in it? And like people are doing the best they can. I get it, create boundaries, but just being mad, well, this needs to change, this reality needs to change. And, sometimes it doesn't. Can we, in the midst of no promise of change, still hold ourselves first with compassion? Because there's certain parts, even how we're showing up in certain parts of our lives that feels very kind of like, God, I feel like I'm spinning in a circle right now. How do I get out of this? How about can you hold and be in that dance of life in a circle with compassion and just know there's some kind of deep work in that and trying to figure out how to get out of it. I don't think we miss the point sometimes. Like, how can we hold compassion now? Because at some point it will go. That's the most powerful thing about it. This thing called liberation is not a play thing. We're all heading in that direction, no matter how shallow we are. We might decide one day we're just gonna be a full-on villain for 4 or 5 lifetimes. There's a reason why we're not doing villainous work, but at some point we might flip the script like, okay, I'm gonna create some terror for like 5 lifetimes. Like Baba was cool this lifetime, but you'll remember next lifetime. Well, we won't speak that. But you know what I mean in the sense of just trusting that there's an intelligence to how these freedoms happen and the patience, and I'm gonna go back to it, is all parts of ourselves, the patience of Tara, this aspect of ourselves, and think about if you've had the blessings to have that person just to be with you. I've had great spiritual friends and people that I trust that can be with me, not trying to fix me, but hold me in that tenderness. Hold me in that place where there is no answer. There's no promise of answer, but they still see me and can be with me in the midst of my own shadow. And this is where the practices of Tara really and being in the Tantra part. Can you be with maybe there is no answer for you to know about? And that's why so much of for those who have been a part of the calls earlier, I talked so much about what it means to be with the unseen. Because sometimes when we look at, especially when we look, forget about just for a moment, let's think about the macrocosm of the world. There's certain parts of it, truthfully, I don't know if it's actually going to work out in this lifetime. I've kind of been like, and I thought about like, yeah, this getting worse and worse. Let me just do what I'm doing over here, my own liberatory work of compassion. And I guess this is just sometimes I talk to Divine Mother. It's like, do you know they're not trying to get better? This is not helping them. This is not helping any of us. And she's like, there's like no, it's just like quiet. I was like, hello out there. Is there anyone out there? Sometimes I feel like that. I was like, I'm like trying to do an SOS or waving some fire, some kind of fire and white flag. Like, are you hearing me, mother? And sometimes I really want to take the tantric goddesses because again, I these are inner experiences of our own work. But when I think about Kali, Tara, when I think about the Maha videos, which I also really start to go, hopefully many of you will join me on this journey of really going down the 10 wisdom mothers who there have their own fierceness with them as representative of ourselves. Sometimes I do think about like, God, can I use these as I really start to connect in with these parts of myself to go ahead and ravage these demons outwardly? I know. It's let me use these tantric powers to take care of these villains, but it's like, where is it in myself that the work to cut into where I just cannot really start to hold this frequency of love? Because when I think about some of those powerful teachers that still walk this planet, even the monks themselves, like they weren't trying to do these long walks and um, doing the meta practices to go ahead and ravage Washington. I'm going off kilter now. I'm gonna bring it back. I'm all laughing at some mischievous parts of me. No, they were bringing love and connection, and this is something that is, and it's actually in that space of compassion transforming lives where you can see, if you saw the videos, people crying, and this connection, this opening of the heart, you know, so powerful. And I think that's one of the most humbling aspects of Tara is to remind me about what it means to fully be alive in compassion. One of the visuals that's the more frightening parts of Tantra parts of Tara is she has blood on her tongue, which I don't know what's up with these Tantric goddesses, all this blood, but it's to be fully alive in this world. I think some of the things that have one foot in this world with compassion and one foot inwardly. And that's why I love some of the yogis where their eyes are half shut, where they could be on this plane, understanding their role and also deeply swimming in the ocean of their own compassion. I think it takes a lot of power to just an understanding of oneself and that they're loved. Because sometimes a knee-jerk reaction for me growing up how I grew up was like, oh no, you got hands, we got hands, we all got hands. It's like, and you know there's a softening behind that I think is so powerful. So where we just start to go into there's a reason why the nonviolence, there's a power behind that. And there's a role with all the different aspects of it. Where at some point I probably would get into the Bhagavad Gita, not this particular conversation too much, but there is a time for righteous war. It takes a wise person to know the difference, but there is a time for that. But there is that truly Kali-esque part of compassion where it's a constant dying of oneself. To go into shadow, to give yourself compassion when you felt like you messed up, you messed up, you messed up. How do I make this move? This idea when you make this wrong turn. Oh, I done messed up. How did I get here? That's what my wig's off. I'm like, how did I get here? What is wrong with me? How did I do this? I have messed up. And let's say, for example, and then sometimes it's not always helpful because there's certain things in your mind. The mind will take you out of compassion at times. So you got to be careful. The mind is powerful because you're in your heart and connecting. The mind's like, yep, let me show you how you messed up. Let me give you all the examples. And then the mind will start to give you reasons around. You see how the universe, and be very careful with the metaphysics because you start to think, oh my gosh, the universe is showing me, the universe, all these areas where I messed up, and then you totally lose your heart in the whole thing. But like, even if it is true, that you messed up. Somehow we messed up. We are bad. Most powerful thing you can do is be in compassion with yourself. Even that, being that tenderness, being with that care, because I really believe that's one of the great gifts that this archetype, and it is this archetype. Some people don't connect with the mother, but I love so much for me just the idea of the mother, that patience, that tenderness, even when things seem really wrong and messed up. Um, One of the things that's so interesting too around what it means to be spiritual in this world, one foot in, one foot out, is I do feel like there is this also disruption, the compassion part of Tara, where you're totally in the bliss state. We've all been there before, and you feel like the desires of your heart, there's something within your chakra start to stir because you're just like I'm on retreat. Like you could be in life, but there's a level of bypassing deep work. You're like, I'm just gonna be in this, which is beautiful in this state. I'm in bliss all the time, but you're really not paying attention to the moment where you're kind of moving off of the present moment and you're in this kind of, I'm in this bliss, kind of distant from it all, which can be its own dangerous. There's a time to be like, I need to have my refuel time. And there's the in the moment where I do think the mother will start to stir and knock us a little bit off kilter. That's why I think the imagery of even having Tara or Kali step on Shiva with awareness on his heart and on his feet, this idea like, yes, and bliss, but being awareness of what's going on, being an awareness of the suffering. This is why I love so much about like even the Metta monks. Oh, talking about the Metta monks. Oh, it makes me think about spring. Let's be in that for a moment. The Metta monks and their ability to be in bliss, but also be in the world, talking to people who have real problems, not just like, I am connected to the one Buddha, that is me, that is you, and not feeling, being the suffering, to be able to grieve with the people, all the great ones, whether you believe in the Christ, whether you believe in Yogananda, Yogananda ji, or Neem Karoli Baba, the ability of all of us who we are in ourself, divinity itself, to be able to hold grief and sadness and disappointment and shadow of your in your own life, but also those who are in your circle when you have capacity to hold those in your own community. I think it's powerful. Um, One of the deep teachings I love about the chakras and what we experience is, what does it mean to find liberation when you're not on the mat? That's a interesting teaching. When it gets very hard, when you feel like, what, that's it? It's almost like I feel like, and again, I haven't experienced this yet, but I have these ideas in the mind, and the mind's go create it. Imagine that you're doing all this work and you're like, oh, liberation's gonna happen with this next Kriya breath. 'Cause I'm a Kriya Bond Yoganandaji. And when I do this last Kriya, my chakras are gonna be clear and oh my God, oneness with God. But imagine it's right when you're paying your taxes and you finally paid your last piece of debt that you've been avoiding for a minute. And all of a sudden you're liberated. Imagine if you're in that deep conversation with a loved one that you've been putting off forever. Like, I can't deal with this person, it's so close-minded, I'm about to go off. I'm gonna get liberated. Imagine it's like picking up your dog poop that like this dog is always sick. I'm tired. I can't do this, but something about you clicks into compassion. This is what's so powerful about I love these teachings of the tantra and these practices where the mundane becomes so divine. The aspects that feel like, oh my God. Because sometimes I should be feeling sometimes I feel like in life it feels so monotonous. I'm like, here we go, the same conversation. They go roll out another album. No, I'm just joking with this. I can't let me not mention the artist name, he might sue me. An artist that keeps coming out the same music, like, God, this is on the radio every day. Why is this planet so typical? Just such the matrix. I'm bored. But imagine letting go of boredom for a moment. What if there's something very magical and beautiful and powerful about presence and compassion? Because it does. That's why people go through cycles. That's why I do think sometimes people start to create, like this person's creating all kind of villain moments now. Are they that bored? Like, because something about the moment is being missed. And that's why I think it's so such an important part just to be with those parts of ourselves and to make that time as well to trust those parts of ourselves when it comes up too, and just to be with it, even if it's the same kind of stirring that's happening over and over again, which I mentioned before. And it's always, and one of those things I find too, when you allow yourself to have the compassion for those shadowy parts, it almost opens up a new chapter that you realize of learning. But also, there's some sweetness too, because of what I love so much about saying shadow. I'm not saying dark, right? There's still light there. There's light trying to emanate, but there's not attending to and the caring to those shadowy parts to open that space of light. But it is light there, even in the shadow. There's wisdom, there's liberation inside of that. So I just think really understanding how just to be with those parts is so powerful. So those are my Tara moments that I have want to share with y'all tonight on Tara. And I'm gonna stop the recording because I'm learning how to land the plane and not have to do all these stuff.